Hey guys, Agent TV here and welcome back to another video. Today is Super Bowl Sunday, every introvert's favorite event of the year, where they are throwing footballs and those 10 out of 10 ads. Man, it's really the best time of the year. But last year's Super Bowl was memorable, to say the very least. If you don't know, the internet was bound together to form a petition for Spongebob to be represented during the show in indulgences of Steven Hillenburg of the episode Geeks. And well, we didn't really get what we wanted.
No introduction!
Instead of getting the OG stuff, we got this 10-second reanimated segment. A few people were satisfied as others were disappointed. The reason I bring this up, however, is I want to take today to dive into Geeks, one of the most infamous episodes in SpongeBob's history, and explain why it's beloved. And with that, let's begin. The episode starts off with Squidward getting a call from his arch nemesis, Squilliam. Squilliam has always been that weird character, over-the-top antagonist if you will. He goes out of his way to embarrass Squidward at any time he can, and whenever they have their crude banters, it just makes you wonder what happened in their past, because they always mention the supposed band class that they both participated in. And I bring this up because he's usually the instigator, but because they knew each other from their school days, they both know Squilliam is more successful and the person that Squidward dreams to be. And the part that makes me feel not so awful for Squidward is when he initially started the phone conversation, he starts with explaining that he's talentless. Do you start every conversation like that? Like, it shows that Squidward knows he's not doing the best he can be doing. That's when I feel the rivalry seems to be redundant at first. Cutting right to the chase, he immediately brings up that his band is performing at the Bubble Bowl, which is a reference to the Super Bowl, of course. In Squilliam, which again knows Squidward is unsuccessful, he mentions to Squidward if his band could play for him. Obviously, Squidward doesn't have a band to perform with, both of them know that. But what does he say?
Hold it! It just so happens that I don't sell fast food. I do have a band, and we're gonna play that Bubble Bowl. How do you like that, fancy boy?
Good luck next Tuesday. I hope the audience brings lots of ibuprofen.
The one thing about this scene, I will say, is that I can appreciate the fact that Squidward stays in character here. He does not want to be proven wrong to anyone who's more successful than him, or as incompetent as him as SpongeBob would be. With that, Squidward quickly puts up flyers around the bikini bottom, and gets a decent amount of people to be on his band, including some familiar faces. Also, throughout this episode, Squidward makes these little, like a bunch of these music jokes, which I don't feel adds to his personality. And here is where we get that very iconic Patrick line.
Is mayonnaise an instrument?
No, Patrick, mayonnaise is not an instrument. Horseradish is not an instrument either.
Like, I think it's just a pre-movie Patrick that I just love. His dumb little parts. Squidward starts practicing with the band. Unfortunately, however, no one has any experience performing in a band. But why teach everyone what notes are, what pitches are? I really don't mind when Patrick gets beaten up, to be honest. Because it's Patrick, like, he's just the dumb one. He's notably the one who would get beaten up in these situations. But just something to remind the viewer here is Squidward didn't even bring up this fight, and I will mention this later on in the video. The next day, they're already on the road performing, and they actually aren't doing that bad. I'd say which is a reckoning, considering I think Squidward's clarinet playing isn't god-awful, but everyone makes it out to be. I also love Pearl here. I don't know why, like the tiny detail for her just being bigger than everyone else, I just love it. While they're practicing, the guys are spinning flags, and because of cartoon logic, they propel themselves into the sky and crash into some blimps. Like, man, you can put this, you can air this? Like, dang, animation really has changed over the years, huh? So on the fourth day of rehearsal, Squidward is pessimistic, which isn't entirely a bad thing, and he tries to use a last resort technique to not completely embarrass himself in front of thousands of people. But then, this happens.
Well, maybe we wouldn't sound so bad if some people didn't try to play with big, meaty claws.
What did you say, punk?
Big, meaty claws!
Listen, little blue fish guy I forget the name of. Some people are just born with big, meaty claws. You can't just judge someone for having something they have no control over at birth. It reminds me of some stereotypes I know in real life. Anyways, for whatever reason, the group starts arguing and they get into a huge brawl. And I do have a few things to mention about this. First of all, why are they arguing the final day of practice? Like, I get they all have a burden on them, but fighting is just not going to solve anything. And I also think there should have been some slight hint to having these disagreements. because it just feels that they randomly start arguing because they can, and it just doesn't feel authentic. However, I have to say this part confused me the most. Them stopping the brawl just because class is over? Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. It shows that everyone really weren't taking the classes seriously, and sure, they didn't pay to participate, but Squidward did not ask them to play with them. It is only disrespectful when you damage his instruments and then just leave afterwards. And for anyone blaming this on Squidward's karma, I'm gonna have to disagree with you. I understand what some of the things he said in the past weren't necessarily good things, but the thing that changes this is, as I mentioned in my last SpongeBob video, is most of the time it's with SpongeBob. Their relationship makes SpongeBob amazing, and this episode will show that. But here's the thing, SpongeBob usually doesn't take what Squidward says as a negative. So if someone doesn't take something as a negative, should that same person be shamed for saying something that others find negative? I think it's a fair argument. It makes Squidward's personality more forgiving. Before they leave, Squidward tells them that there isn't much point of them continuing the band rehearsal, and they decide to disband the band. Realizing that they screwed up to someone who didn't even start the fighting in the first place, or forced them to be there, like, come on, man. SpongeBob takes charge and spends the whole night practicing everyone to be ready for tomorrow. I'm glad to see SpongeBob here. Like, seeing him talk over like someone like Sandy or Mr. Krabs, because really they wouldn't really make any sense. As the next day arrives, Squidward approaches the Bubble Bowl to find that the one and only Squilliam is there. Man, and I thought you had plans that day, man. But most of the people actually attended the performance, all uniformed up in these pretty epic marching band outfits. They're pushed up to the surface with a very interesting setting, with a bunch of fans around them, which is not something, again, pre-movie SpongeBob is not known for. They are known for using sometimes non-animated characters. Squidward unfortunately seems super nervous as Squilliam is over there smirking, and his bandmates didn't seem to be ready to perform. Without his command, they begin playing, and oh boy, the song they perform is top-notch. Like, there isn't much I can show on screen due to the YouTube copyright system, but this scene is, again, one of the most iconic moments in the show's history. And SpongeBob's amazing singing, performed by the legendary Bob Kulick, is a fantastic piece to say the very least. Also, seeing Squidward's dreams come true, and seeing his thrilled face as Squilliam is escorted out of the stage, it's just great, man. And that was Band Geeks. Overall, I loved Band Geeks. It's a delightful episode, which, while it isn't a direct relationship bonus episode between SpongeBob and Squidward, it has a little build-up in Squidward as a character, and give those critics who despise Squidward a little bit of rebuttal. But what do you think of Band Geeks as an episode? Do you think Squidward is a scum, or is everyone just having an overhate party for him? Let me know down below in the comments. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and if you're watching the Super Bowl, enjoy, and if you're not, still enjoy. I'll see you in the next one, and I'm out.